in the air, and people are running on scripts that they don't even realize they're running on, because media scripts humans just as code scripts machines, right? This is something I had in the Ferris podcast, right? So tech had sort of abandoned.
Unpack that for a second for somebody who doesn't get it right off the top.
Sure.
Saying, just the way that what is a script in the way that the media scripts humans?
Masks work, masks don't work. Okay, boomer. Every meme, right? For example, okay, you see a bunch of kids when they
the Karen thing.
Yeah, the Karen thing. You see a bunch of kids when they come out of a movie theater. What is the first thing they do?
I haven't seen kids come out of a movie theater. I don't know.
Okay, a bunch of kids come out of a movie theater. The first thing they do is they start quoting lines from the movie, right? They just reenact what they just saw on screen, right? And so, this is something where the way to get people to do something, sometimes it is to tell them to do it, but often it is just show it being done, right? And that is kind of, Peter Thiel's, a citation of Rene Girard on mimesis, I think is important. Like, humans are mimetic. That's how we acquire language. That's how we align on objectives, And I think that whether you want to call it contagious mental illness, I think that's an understudied concept, by the way. We know that there's contagious physical illnesses. We know there's viruses, right? Contagious mental illness, well, we've sort of all stuck our brains into Twitter, right? Like this vat, right? Imagine putting your brain into a vat with 300 million other people, and they're all just sending electromagnetic, their brain states to you. It feels a little unhygienic if you think about it that way, right? And in an interesting sense, we sort of social distance away from each other offline, but we packed close online, like social networking packed close. And what that meant was that bad memes, crazy memes could spread faster than ever, wildfire, whoosh, like this, right? Because everybody's brain was connected to everybody's brain, right? There's a famous cartoon of this, with the stock market, where it shows the mimetic contagion with respect to prices, and it's like a guy says, okay, I can't have any more of this. Goodbye. And someone overhears and they're like, goodbye, bye, 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 bye. And then there's somebody else who overhears it, and it's like, I think this stock could really excel. And then someone's like, excel, sell, right? And it's actually really funny, right? Because it just sort of conveys these sort of like traveling waves of memes, right? Right now, we don't have great visuals on this. We can't do the molecular neurology of the meme like we can do the molecular biology of the gene. Let me explain what I mean by that. The concept of genetics predated molecular genetics. Like Mendel went into these phenomenological experiments where you could see, like the pea plants and so on, big A, little a, if you remember that from high school or what have you. Before people understood the biochemistry of, deoxyribonucleic acid and how a gene is actually represented and the double helix and all that type of stuff, that awaited kind of the next century, right? In the same way, I think Dawkins and kind of our phenomenological understanding of memes, right, is something that is ahead of our molecular neurology. How are ideas represented in the brain? Right? How are they stored? How are they retrieved? How are they accessed? How are they communicated? People have done things on this with the so-called Jennifer Aniston neuron, right? Where, it appears there's actually sites in the brain that would actually store Jennifer Aniston. Like you see something and it just has, where you see the words Jennifer Aniston, you see the image Jennifer Aniston, you see a video of her, you see Brad Pitt and it would light up next to her and so on and so forth. For somebody who follows all this celeb stuff, it's not my thing. But this is from that. It's from a paper a while ago when Jennifer Aniston was still, I think, very much in the news, not as much today, right? That concept seems to also exist to some extent within neural networks, like the new, like the AI stuff that's being done, where you can actually seem to express like an abstract concept where a neuron replies to. I think OpenAI, I forget who, I think it was OpenAI who had a paper on this recently, okay? So we're starting to actually get at how abstract concepts could be represented in a quantifiable scientific way. And, we're not yet there, but eventually we'll be able to see things like, okay, here's this traveling wave of ideas, mimetic contagion. Here are ideas that serve as vaccines against those other ideas, right? They block them out because these ideas are themselves trying to spread.
Yeah. So how does this? So like, I'm gonna say like, here's the dumb Sam version of what you said, which is like, I can convince people to believe certain things by making them feel certain emotions, and I could do that by using sticky viral content, which boils down to funny memes.